Greetings, Bay Area hoop enthusiasts. Before we get into tonight's jaw-dropping rumor, go ahead and slam that subscribe button and ring the notification bell on Warriors News Fan Report so you never miss a moment of the latest scoops and insider buzz surrounding our beloved Golden State Warriors. Tonight, I've got a sizzling development that has every Dub Nation pulse racing. Whispers from league insiders that a sharpshooting wing, fresh off a deep playoff run, could be suiting up in royal blue and gold next season. But hold your horses before we drop any names. Trust me, I'm just as eager as you are to find out who might be packing their bags for San Francisco, and I promise this is one tease you won't want to skip. In the aftermath of a thrilling Western Conference semifinal exit, Warriors management quietly shifted their focus to roster reinforcements, eyeing hot-button targets on rival rosters. Our front office knows that to reclaim a championship pedigree, they'll need more than cohesive ball movement and established veterans. They'll need a dynamic scoring threat who can stretch defenses and ignite second-unit lineups. Rumors began to swirl when across California, a fierce trade turf war ignited between two powerhouse franchises locked in a quest for reinforcements. On one side, the Lakers, thirsting for fresh talent to complement their superstar duo for what could be a one-year run alongside a veteran icon. On the other, the Warriors, boasting a proven system, championship DNA, and a thirst to prove that our dynasty is far from over. Sources tell us that at the heart of this trade, fever lies a 29-year-old wing with a silky three-point stroke and the physical tools to guard multiple positions. Someone who averaged over 16 points per game last season while knocking down nearly 40% from beyond the arc. Imagine pairing that kind of heater with the erratic brilliance of Stephen Curry and the lockdown versatility of Draymond Green. Could you feel the defensive headaches already? Before we name names, let's rewind to the engines behind the scenes. League executives confirmed that the Warriors have engaged in preliminary talks with multiple front offices about potential swap pieces. One proposal floated involved packaging, a promising young forward, fresh off a rookie campaign that turned heads, with a second-round pick and salary relief. The player in question has reportedly found himself in trade rumors since his breakout performance against one of the top defensive units last spring. His ability to rise in crunch time and knock down contested jumpers under pressure has drawn plaudits from coaches and peers alike. Even Kevin Durant, during an off-season podcast, complimented this wing's killer instinct when the game's on the line, a testament to the respect he garners across the league. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Lakers quietly moved to restructure their bench and free up cap space, setting the stage for an all-out bidding war. Both franchises recognize that adding this player would send shockwaves through the Western Conference hierarchy. But sources close to Warriors News Fan Report stress that Golden State has a unique advantage, a culture built on unselfish play and the reputation of maximizing talent. Could this be the deciding factor that tilts the scales in our favor? Let's consider the chess pieces on the table. On the Warriors' end, whispers mention Andrew Wiggins' sizable contract as a potential salary match, an intriguing proposition given his defensive acumen and familiarity with Steve Kerr's schemes. Toss in a future first-round pick, and you've got a package that might just compel another team to blink. Yet our front office also values roster continuity and the chemistry that has kept Golden State in championship conversations for nearly a decade. Would they risk unsettling the locker room's balance for one additional scoring threat? That's the million-dollar question. Now, zoom out and picture the potential impact on the court. Step 1. Curry launches off-balance triples from 30 feet. Step 2. Defenders rotate, leaving a corner shooter. And that's where our mystery. Wing springs to life, catching and firing in a fraction of a second. Step 3. The ball swings, Green orchestrates the double, and suddenly the rim becomes a welcome target for thunderous alley-oop finishes. Could this bolt of firepower transform the Warriors into offensive juggernauts capable of overwhelming any defense? Some insiders believe it would redefine spacing and cement our status as the most lethal three-point shooting team in NBA history. But let's not overlook the flip side. Integrating a high-usage wing mid-season, or even in training camp, demands adjustments. Play calling would need fine-tuning, rotations would shift, and roles would need redefining. Could this newcomer embrace a bench unit role rather than starting? Or would he demand the ball come his way in late-game situations? Observers note that the Warriors excel when every player buys into their selfless ethos. If our potential target shares that mindset, the fit could be seamless. If not, the chemistry that powers Golden State's fluid offense could sputter. Off the court, fan reaction has been electric. Social media platforms are ablaze with mock trading scenarios. Highlight: clips of returning free agents, and even Photoshop renderings of our mystery wing rocking the iconic Splash logo on a jersey. While some Dub Nation superfans debate the merits of draft capital versus proven talent, others boldly declare that this move would vault the Warriors back to undisputed favoritism in the West. Meanwhile, national analysts on sports networks are picking apart potential deal trees, assigning probability percentages to whether the Warriors or Lakers will ultimately prevail in this tug-of-war. One thing is clear: this rumor has the power to reshape not only the Warriors' roster, but the entire landscape of NBA trade strategy. If Golden State emerges victorious, we could witness a new era of super teams built around two-way wings and high-octane offense. If not, the Lakers might seize momentum and rewrite the script for Los Angeles' next title chase. Either way, the suspense is unbearable, and it's exactly the kind of edge-of-your-seat drama that keeps fans glued to their screens. So, Warriors News Fan Report viewers, stay tuned and keep your notifications on. In our next segment, we'll peel back the curtain even further, revealing the likely trade package details, the salary cap alchemy required, and the timeline for when we might finally see this blockbuster move materialize. Until then, keep the speculation alive and let us know what you think this all means for the future of our Golden State dynasty. Smash that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report right now, so you don't miss a single update on this potential Cam Johnson blockbuster trade. All right, Warriors faithful, let's dive into the fine print of how Golden State could realistically bring Cam Johnson into the fold, and what ripple effects this might unleash across the entire league. Sources close to the front office tell us that executives have sketched out multiple permutations of a deal to entice the Phoenix Suns, all centered around Jonathan Kuminga's energetic two-way potential and a package of future draft picks that would bolster Phoenix's long-term outlook. Imagine the Warriors offering Kuminga plus a protected first-round pick in 2026 and an unprotected first in 2028, sweetened by a veteran expiring contract to match Johnson's salary. This kind of haul checks every box for a franchise desperate to add perimeter shooting and wing versatility without mortgaging its core. Of course, the cap mechanics are equally crucial. Golden State already flirts with the luxury tax threshold as it stands, thanks to max deals for Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. To create room for Johnson's contract, the Warriors would likely need to execute a sign-and-trade, sign Cam Johnson to a 4-year deal and immediately swap salaries with Phoenix. Meanwhile, role players on expiring deals, think Otto Porter Jr. or Nemanja Bjelica, could agree to buyouts, freeing up additional cap space. If necessary, the Warriors could even employ the stretch provision on a veteran contract, spreading the cap hit over several years and creating a one-time exception to land Johnson now. Each of these maneuvers carries risks: losing experienced depth, upsetting chemistry, and incurring additional luxury tax penalties. But the prize of a 40% three-point marksman capable of guarding multiple positions might be worth every dollar. On the hardwood, integrating Cam Johnson into Steve Kerr's motion offense presents its own set of questions. Curry would remain the primary playmaker, with Johnson slotting seamlessly as a catch-and-shoot specialist who can also handle isolation and mid-range pull-ups when defenses overcommit to Steph. Thompson would continue to thrive off the ball, spotting up in the corners and drawing defensive attention, which in turn would create more driving lanes for Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins. Draymond would orchestrate the defense and facilitate transition opportunities, rustling opponents' schemes with his playmaking instincts. The key variable is Johnson's comfort in sacrificing some usage rate. Would he embrace a complementary role, waiting for kickouts and spot-up threes, or will he demand more freedom to create his own shot in late-game situations? Insiders say Johnson's professionalism and team-first mentality suggest he would embrace his niche, but only time will tell how quickly he adapts to a roster already rich in established stars. Now consider the seismic shift this would cause in the Western Conference pecking order. With Johnson's sharpshooting added to a championship-tested core, the Warriors would instantly become favorites to win the division and vie for the top seed. The Phoenix Suns, already a perennial contender, would be forced back into a rebuild or retooling phase, using the acquired picks and Kuminga to restock their talent pipeline. The Lakers, having watched Cam Johnson as a coveted free agent for months, would lose out in the bidding war, likely pivoting to alternative targets and recalibrating their short-term championship aspirations. Meanwhile, teams like the Timberwolves and Nuggets, who rely on elite defensive versatility and interior scoring, would find themselves scrambling to counter a Warriors lineup that can now spread the floor with Curry, Thompson, and Johnson, while still packing an explosive rim-running threat in Kuminga. The ripple effects extend into trade deadlines and free agency previews as every front office reevaluates whether to double down on shooting, defense, or size to keep pace with this revamped Golden State machine. Off the court, fan and media. Reaction has already reached a fever pitch. Social media is ablaze with hypothetical highlights. Curry dishes to Johnson for a corner three, or Johnson skies for a putback dunk after a fierce Kuminga offensive rebound. Dub Nation podcasts debate. Lineups with names like Splash Curry, Silky Clay, Defensive Green, and Sniper Johnson bouncing around. National analysts on ESPN and TNT weigh in, some hailing the deal as a stroke of genius that addresses the Warriors' occasional second-unit scoring drought, others cautioning that adding another perimeter-heavy piece could hamper bench ball, movement, and clog rotation spots. In local Bay Area bars, heated debates rage. Does this trade cement Golden State's dynasty or risk diluting the team's identity? Some old-school fans long for more physicality at the forward position, while modernists celebrate the prospect of nearly unhittable spacing and a near-universal switchability on defense. From a historical standpoint, the NBA has seen its fair share of wing-heavy super teams, but none quite like this. Think back to the early 90s Bulls, Jordan, Pippen, and Horace Grant, or the late 2000s Celtics, Pierce, Garnett, and Allen. Each relied on a perfect balance of superstar talent and role-player excellence. A Warriors core of Curry, Thompson, Green, and Johnson, with Kuminga's youthful upside providing depth, could represent a new era. A team built around relentless perimeter attack and positionless defense. Yet, every historical example also carries caveats. Garnett's age, Allen's contract years, Grant's limited range. Here, the gamble is that Johnson's prime years and lethal shooting offset any potential decline in rim support or interior scoring. If Golden State gets the mix right, they could create a template for 21st century basketball supremacy. And let's not forget the timeline pressure. If this deal comes down by training camp, the Warriors would have the advantage of a full preseason to integrate Johnson's movement patterns into their sets. But if it drags into mid-season, we could see a seismic shift in the standings as teams scramble to adapt on the fly. Late October chemistry building morphs into December lineup tinkering, pre-All-Star break cohesion battles, post-break rust. That calendar crunch adds another layer of drama. Every practice becomes must-see TV, every early season game a referendum on the front office's vision. At the heart of it all lies one question: Is this the missing piece that finally catapults Golden State back to banner-raising status? Or will the costs, luxury tax hits, disrupted rotations, deferred draft assets, prove too heavy for even Kerr's deft coaching hand? Personally, I'm leaning toward optimism. Johnson's proven off-ball prowess and underrated defensive versatility feel like a match made in heaven for what the Warriors need: reliable spacing, fresh perimeter energy, and a high IQ basketball mind ready to embrace a selfless system. But as a devout dub, I also recognize the fine line between assembling stars and forging dynasties. Chemistry, trust, and sacrifice can't be traded on draft night. They must be nurtured within the locker room. So, Warriors Nation, here's where we stand. A tantalizing rumor that could reshape our franchise's future and redefine the power balance in the NBA. Could Cam Johnson don the royal blue and gold next season, standing shoulder to shoulder with Curry, Thompson, and Green? Or will this tantalizing offer fall short, sending the front office back to the drawing board in search of next year's prize? What do you think about all of this? I'm dying to hear your takes. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and spark a conversation that could outlast the season. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and hit that notification bell so you're always first in line for breaking news, insider, insights, and all the speculation you crave. Until next time, stay golden.